Tonight on America, the Conversation, Andrew and Tim will be discussing America's Society of Fear. And, trigger warning, the two of them will be discussing the rampant gun violence in the United States, as well as many other terrible things. That said, strap into the fear roller coaster that is America tonight on America, the Conversation. Hello, and welcome to America the Conversation. I am one of your hosts, Tim Philippi, and with me, as always, is Andrew Turner. What's up, bud? What?
I'm scared.
Scared of what?
I'm scared
of everything? Everything all the time, everything everywhere all at once? Yeah, basically. Dope movie.
I'm scared of all things.
Yeah.
Because what the TV tells me to do.
Yeah. You live in America, so you're scared of, like, everything. And so am I, because that's what America is built on, a society of fear. And that's the theme for today. I mean, every single one of you, probably afraid of something. Even if you're a leftist, if you're a maggot, you might be afraid of, you're afraid of illogical things on that side. But most of us are afraid of going to shopping malls, dry cleaners, school, because of a fun little thing called GUNS, because can't really say that word out loud or YouTube will flag it right there. So we'll just call it what it is. Guns. I don't care. Fuck it. But yeah, we're afraid of guns. We're afraid of fucking everything going on. We're afraid of the climate dying. We're afraid of just everything. We're afraid of some asshole, like, you know what I'm afraid of? Legit, like, and this is like my mentality now, and I don't want it to be, is when I'm on a walk, I itch my leg. I'm scared that some dickhead's gonna come outside and shoot me for standing in his driveway for too long. Like, it has happened multiple times. How many times has this happened? Like, I think there was like 4 in a week or something like that, like a month ago. Like, a kid rang the wrong doorbell and got shot in the head. A girl pulled into a driveway. I think she was just trying to figure out where the hell she was. Got shot and killed, and then, like, what, 2 others? Am I wrong? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Yeah, there were 2 people who pulled into a driveway. Yeah, there were 2 people who pulled into a driveway. The kid who knocked on the door had to knock on 3 other doors before someone would help him after he was shot by the homeowner. So that's pretty.
Was he
cool.
seeking help, or was he lost? Like, what? Like, it doesn't matter. That's the biggest thing. Everybody,
I believe he was picking up a sibling or like a
Right.
younger cousin or something, and he was told an address, and it was like Avenue versus Park or Road or Street.
Oh, right.
And like he typed in the wrong one or was given the wrong one in his GPS, so it took him to the wrong part of town. And like,
Right.
that's what happened.
Jesus.
Is essentially he put in, street name Avenue instead of street name Park, and those were 2 different streets.
Right.
And he went to the house number that was on that street, knocked on the door, and the guy shot him immediately.
Right.
Because he was black and the old man was white and racist.
Yeah.
So,
and he even said that as much as, like, I was afraid because he was black or something like that. He said that when he turned himself in, or to his son, and his son also said, like, he sits inside and watches Fox News all day, and
his grandson,
talking points of that. Yeah, his grandson.
Yeah,
sorry, not
his
his
grandson
not his son.
gave an interview on CNN about how, and this is directly related to our topic today, how the far right media had made him afraid of his fellow Americans regularly and made him somebody who felt like he had to amass arsenal of weapons in order to protect himself from things that just are not true. And there are a lot of things to be afraid of. Audience. There's a lot of things in life that are scary.
Spiders.
In politics, there are things that are scary. Climate change, the rising tide of fascism. The fact that you can't pay rent, the fact that you can't afford goods or that you can't afford to start a family in this country. Those are all very scary, real problems that we need to address and be realists. But unfortunately, I think a lot of Americans are gripped by fear that is irrational, and that is an intentional thing by the people who run our nation.
For sure.
Because it keeps us from talking about the real problems.
And then they go as far. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. My bad.
No, I just want to mention a few things that we were told to be scared about as we were growing up that really didn't materialize. Monkeypox, the caravan, Islamic terrorism coming into your small Texan, Kentucky,
Sharia
New York
law.
home. Sharia law, gay conversion.
That they are going to convert you into being gay, not
Exactly.
just not to mention the camps that they would send people to pray away the gay. Pizzagate, not
Pizzagate, Operation Jade Helm.
Oh, Jade Helm. Yeah, that happened right outside Austin.
They're
over here.
gonna
It was
take-
hilarious.
They're gonna take your guns.
Yeah. Jade Helm was the federal government is invading Texas, if you were wondering what that was. And like, well, it's part of the federal government, so I don't think that's how that works.
The AIDS crisis being a threat to people being not a threat, and then an extreme use as a threat for homophobia, and never really addressed by the Reagan administration. Yep. The Soviet Union. All these things were told to us. There's something that we need to regularly be terrified of in order to keep a culture war up, in order to prop up a right-wing media structure and right-wing power alliance, and in order to maintain an American empire. That is why you were told those lies, for those fear. But I'm sorry, but you have much more likely of a chance of getting shot by a fellow American, getting shot by a police officer, even more so, by the way. Or how about this, contracting a disease and not being able to find it, getting cancer and not being able to find it because you don't have access to a doctor, you can't afford a doctor until it's too late, than you do ever of a terrorist attacking your small town Wendy's while you're in it. And yet we spent trillions of dollars as a nation, both corporate and as a government, in the war on terror, on something that was a fluke.
Yeah.
9/11 was horrible, but it was a fluke. And the vast majority of Americans should be worried about what's actually harming them, which is the rich upper class 1% working them to death their entire life and ripping them away from their families, their entertainment, their leisure time, so that they can make $1 for every cent that they make for somebody else.
Yeah.
And in order to distract from that, they make us afraid of a lot of things. And I think that the most recent thing would be trans rights. People are so scared on the far right of people who are transitioning or have transitioned and changed gender. I think most normal people, I think they're failing on this, unlike they did with being gay in the 80s and 90s, where a lot of normal people joined their side. I think most normal people don't care about
anything.
Anyone who's transitioned.
Yeah. No.
Yeah, I think they don't give a shit either way. They don't care if they're murdered in the street in a bar, and they don't care if they have drag queen story, if people have drag queen story hour, right? No. Like I think
select
the
few
average
of
Joe
Republicans
just doesn't give a shit. Yeah,
creating a straw man. I mean, it's so cliche. They teach it in like political studies. Like this is like there's a term for it. We've got it's in the dictionary. It's in it's day one. I learned that shit in middle school, literally middle school. I thought it was a funny name. It was like, oh yeah, like the Wizard of Oz. That's hilarious. But that was it. That was my only thing. I like the Wizard of Oz, but
I mean, a lot of the fears that they put up are like the fears you had as a child.
Sure.
Like I was very prepared for quicksand as a
oh my god, yeah.
I was like ready for that. After watching The Princess Bride, I was like, that ain't happening to my horse.
Oh my god, dude.
I am never going to be taken down by quicksand. And not once in my life has quicksand evasion actually come up as a useful skill.
No.
So
I will say it did for me once. It was quick mud. It wasn't sand, but I started sinking into some very. I would not. Luckily, I was like near the edge, but it was just like, whoa, I'm actually sinking. This is insane. But yeah, quicksand. That's not a thing. I mean, it's definitely a thing, but like not for most people.
It's not common for most young Americans.
One thing I learned a long time ago that is talking about fear, where how ingrained it can be from a parent to a child. Like there was a study that was done, and I don't remember where. I'll see if I can find it and link it. But say you're walking down, you're a white parent with white child, you're walking down the street. You are a little bit uneasy about black folks or any person of color, but you see a black person across the street and you're holding your child's hand and you squeeze their hand just slightly and they see it too. And you do that multiple times. That is going to ingrain in them that that's a person I should be afraid of. And they won't even know why. That's how it can get ingrained into you. And it's simple things like that. Like, I mean, when they say it starts with the parents, I mean, it really does start with the parents. And it is, and racism is ingrained. We have created people to be afraid of that there's no reason to be afraid of anybody. You shouldn't, like, we are all in this country for some reason just afraid of every human being. I'm afraid of everybody I meet sometimes. Like I said, like I'm afraid of just taking a walk. I'm afraid my dog might poop in someone's yard and, some fucking MAGA guy is going to come out guns a-blazing like, get that commie dog off my yard. Like that's, I don't know what to do, man. Like it is what it is. And they, like you said before, like it's it's Fox News, it's Newsmax, it's even hell our side sometimes, and any news sources. You must be afraid of this, no matter what. Like it is, and you know why? You know why, everybody? I bet you know why. Because it makes money. Sweet, sweet cash, baby. Fear. I mean, why do you like horror movies? I love the Scream movies, the Halloween movies. They're all rad, and they're about a serial killer in both of them. But I love being scared, like, because it's fun in a way. Like, you don't even think about that. Like, this fear is not only is it your daily life, but like, I mean, it maybe like you do it because it's a little fun, because you're addicted to it. Like fear, I mean, it's the adrenaline rush, right? Like you can be addicted to an adrenaline rush. That's why you sit and watch Fox News all day, assuming you MAGA people watching this leftist podcast. But like it is just, it's just there. People love it, but they don't want it, and we shouldn't be having it because it's a sickness, and I don't think it's going to end as long as money exists, ? I don't know. Thoughts?
I mean, we could certainly be less sensationalist and regulate the news better, and all work together to be less afraid of our fellow American. I think that just money is a corrupting influence, but we could all do better. Still, nonetheless, vastly better, even with the horrible corrupting influence of capitalism. But a lot of the things that we talk about regularly, racism, fascism, homophobia, these are all based in fear. I don't think that
a phobia literally is a fear.
Yeah. I mean, like the idea of superiority that comes is a reflective jerk to the fact that actually you're terrified of something you don't understand. The only way to combat something you're afraid of in a toxic, usually masculine way, is to fight it, not run from it, not understand it, not communicate with it, but to fight it and show your strength and your ability to be violent. And the upper class, the 1%, the capitalist ruling class, knows that fact about human psychology, that people will turn fear into anger, and then they will turn that anger into political action. So you say, why is everything scary? Money? Yeah, I mean, definitely Fox News makes money off of scaring old white people about things that aren't a problem. And definitely CNN and MSNBC scare everyone else, mostly old white people too that are libs, but scare everybody else too by talking about whatever the newest story that seems scary is, because it gets eyeballs on the television. But I think that the main reason that the upper class pushes the political agendas that are inspired by fear, like homophobia, like anti-abortion, like it's not because I think that most people in power are actually true believers in this stuff. It's that they know that will divide us, the working class, against each other, and say, hey, that immigrant, that gay person, that woman, that black person, that indigenous person, that, whatever other they can come up with, that Muslim, that atheist, that Jew, that whatever, that they can put in to the side as like an other group that's not the majority. If you're focused on them and whatever bullshit made up problems that you think they have, you're not focused on the guy telling you that they're the problem that's taking the money out of your back pocket. LBJ, and I'm going to paraphrase his quote here, once said that if you can convince a white man that a black man is taking, $1 out of his pocket, you can take the whole wallet. Because the fact is people are terrified that they're losing their sovereignty, their privilege sometimes, which you shouldn't lose your sovereignty, but maybe your privilege. They're afraid that we're losing our place in the world, and they're afraid that they're not going to make rent. They're not going to be able to pay for food for their kids. They're not going to give a better world to their children. They're not going to be better educated. And the only way that they think that they can combat that fear in a mode of control that they have power over is to blame this other, to join this group, to join a cult, to join an idea that we are stronger together, and together means, only people of this tribe. Yeah. We are not a big tent, or at least our tent is full, and we don't need anybody else. And that allows the people in power to continue to hold their positions of power, because we're all too busy arguing about Drag Queen Story Hour instead of the fact that the top 3 billionaires could all be taxed with the wealth tax that's proposed under Bernie Sanders and would still have all over 50 to 60 to 70 to 80 billion dollars. That the top 1%, the top 1%, there are 35 people in the world that own just as much wealth as the bottom half of the planet.
Yeah.
That 3.5 billion people together could pull every cent they have out of their wallet and still would not equal 35 people that are the richest in the world. In order to distract us from that fact, they're going to make you be afraid of whatever your base instinct is of fear on the other is, and that's why Americans are afraid.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Tim Philippi, founder of Shui Media and the producer of the show you're enjoying right now. At Shui Media, we produce a lot of content, and due to, capitalism, we need money to keep making that content. And that's where you, the fan, can help out. In the description of this episode, you'll find multiple affiliate links that help out Shui Media and help out you as well. You can also head over to shuimedia.com/affiliates for a full list of the affiliate links that help out Shui, help out you, or maybe even help out one of your friends or family members. And that's it. That's the commercial. Thanks for listening. And now, back to the show. One thing that Bernie, I remember him saying a while ago of like what the biggest cause of terrorism is climate change, and just he was talking about all the people that joined ISIS and joined Al Qaeda, and like that because like the climate change that caused their crops not to grow and them not to be able to make money, and their food insecurity and financial insecurity, and
access to water is
access
huge.
to water
access to water is huge
for them. Yeah, exactly. Like
the foundation of ISIS, a lot of people joined
water
because they wanted water.
Wow.
And an organization.
Wow, I did
and
not know that.
The same is true with the Taliban in Afghanistan. Like the reason a lot of people joined is because the Taliban was an alternative government to like pedophile warlords.
Yeah,
that
right.
took over
Yeah.
small sections of the country and called it their own fiefdom. Is because people were like, well, I'm terrified of the changing world of literal.
Yeah.
They probably wouldn't call it climate change, but the fact that my crops are harder to grow every year. I'm terrified of the fact that this guy can come and take my children whenever he wants and do horrible things to them. That he can shoot me in the head. The Taliban says if I pay a tax and I embrace their form of the religion, their sect, then they'll take care of us and they'll provide water and transportation and things that a government does.
Yeah, like fear is it's such a motivator. Like I mean, for everything, it's like it's why dictators succeed all the time. Like when, or at least last for as long as they do. Like we will take care of you kind of a thing. But even then, most of the time they don't really take care of you. They give you the bare minimum and call you being taken care of, like they do in North Korea or in the Taliban and everything else like that. But
which I don't think we should say, because conservatives will do this often. I don't think we should say like, oh, because someone promises you something in a policy that's good or that a lot of people want, that means they're automatically, leaning towards dictatorship, or that they're automatically like promising good things and doing them in policy is not a bad thing. It doesn't automatically make you evil. But the problem is that they will promise good things that they also fill up on people who want power.
Yeah.
And then they will exclude that marginalized group in order to keep you placated with less.
Yeah. Like but the thing is here is like, to alleviate this fear, just in America, like they're not really doing anything to fix it. Like no one is. Like people say a lot of things. Some things can't get done. There's people that put forth ideas, sure, and they're good
the
ideas.
Motto
but
of this show:
they're not
doing anything to fix it.
Guess what? They're not doing anything. Like in the case of that poor kid that got shot because of over a parkway or a terrace in the road, what they would say is that, we have a street name problem, not the gun problem. We would say, we have a problem with street. Like when Uvalde happened, they said we have a problem with exit doors on schools or something like that.
Yeah, we need
like,
door control.
Yeah, door control.
Door control.
Like they will make up every other thing, and just to make a new thing that you're scared of. So now all the MAGA heads are now scared of doors, I guess. Lack of exits, or too many exits. I don't really, I don't know. But they're not scared of being shot. Like
they're just scared of their guns getting taken away.
Like, yeah, but that's the thing.
Which is never going to happen in the United States.
It's never going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
That's the ultimate straw man. Is like, we're going to take away your guns. Like, it literally would never happen. They would buy them back, and plenty of buybacks have happened and have worked. They did one in Serbia recently after one mass shooting. Like,
no one's going to go door to door in one of the largest like land nations on the planet that you can easily hide shit in and like develop a task force to take away your guns. It's not going to happen.
The amount of arsenals that are buried throughout the United States, Jesus Christ, there's more guns than people. Like, I think there might be twice as many at this point. Like, that was a statistic from years ago. So, like, I don't know. Like,
it's impossible.
It's impossible. And it's impossible to not, like, just be lightly afraid on a daily basis. Like, existing in America, you exist with just a baseline fear going on, like a sizzle in the back of your brain. Like, I've seen a trend on social media recently that keeps saying the new American dream is to leave and to move. I mean, you've talked to me about moving to Ireland to write in a castle for the rest of your life, which sounds fucking dope, by the way. And
I don't think I'll be able to afford a castle. A small hovel.
By the way, castles in Scotland are pretty
cheap
right now.
We'll talk about it later.
You'd be surprised.
Because if we stumble upon a winning lottery ticket that we both split, we're getting in a castle.
I'm talking in the hundreds of thousands and under 5. It's I don't know if I looked at that in euros.
I mean, we're only gonna be able to like afford to like like fix up like the entryway and have one room in a castle.
Cash off of it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I'm sure your wife will be great with that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she's from England, so I mean, she doesn't want to live in a castle. So, but she's definitely told me that.
Man, I want to hang out with you two in a castle. That sounds super fun, actually.
Dude, it sounds great.
I would love to be y'all's hermit, like living out in a shack on your lawn as y'all. Dude, that's
tend to the sheep and the lands, man.
Just scare passersby. Just like, speaking of fear, just like the witch is coming as I shake a stick.
Shake a big stick at him.
The dragon will rise from the hill again. Just like walking to my hovel.
I think it's just an old American couple that live up there. He says it's a dragon. I don't know. The dragon's in the castle.
Even with there's 3 Americans live up there. I'm not sure if they're in a polycule, but one of them just lives in a small hut and screams Dungeons and Dragons monsters at you. I just come out of my hut. Does a 26 hit? Ah!
Yeah. No, but even like say here in Texas, you left Texas. Like, good goddamn for you. That's great. You live in New England now, where it's, I'm not going to say safer, but it's definitely a lot more chill. Definitely a lot cooler. But here, like, I mean, dude, I don't know if we've had more than every other place in America. Like, it's they're mapping them out like weather maps at this point. Like, there's a really disturbing image of here's all the shootings that happened today, and it's just like the one in the mall in Texas that happened a few weeks ago, all that kind of shit. But like, it's caused us to want to leave, and we are likely moving in a year because of it to Oregon, because it's not necessarily safer. There's a lot of Nazis and libertarians up there, but I feel safer
politics-wise. It's safer because
politics-wise it's safer because right now we're
their legislators are going to be Democratic because the cities
all
are
the time.
so populous up there. Yeah.
Not to mention in Oregon, like to nerd out to them, like their House or Senate, one of the two, they get elected every 2 years, and they are not allowed to like basically call in sick unless they have like they're dying kind of a thing. They have to vote, otherwise they like lose their job. Kind of like that. I'm summarizing poorly, but
I do want to call a local politician and be like, "Hey, you need to cover your shift."
Yeah.
Do you got somebody who can cover that at 2 p.m.?
Yeah.
Because like it's your responsibility. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, yeah. I went and toured the Capitol. It was fascinating what they were telling me. I'm like, oh, so wait, this government kind of works. Oh wow. Ooh. Okay. And then been obsessed ever since, but like, and plus we have friends up there and stuff, but it feels safer up there. Like whenever when I'm there and when I'm with the community I've built up there, it feels better. Here in Austin, it still feels fine, but in Texas, it's just so, I mean, it's Texas. Like, we love our guns down here. There's a gun show like every few months, like 10 miles from my house, where you can just buy a gun without a license now. And we have open carry now. I don't know if you have that up where you are. I know there's Ohio did it, but
I don't think there's open carry here.
I highly doubt that. Well, yeah, and that's. God, that was the dumbest thing people always said.
I mean, New Hampshire's a pretty conservative state.
Has a concealed carry, but we were already carrying.
I guess I just doxed myself, but
no.
New Hampshire's a pretty.
I'm
in the great granite state. Live free or die. And speaking of that, like New Hampshire is a very like politically purple state compared to the rest of New England. Mm-hmm. Like, it is the live free or die state. It is the only state where you can drive without a seatbelt on. It is.
Shut up. What?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no
amazing.
There's no seatbelt law in New
wow.
Hampshire, yeah.
Okay, that's
they
so
said,
dumb.
Screw your federal funds in the 70s. And they
wow! Yeah, you had to get
be
federal
passing
funding,
a seatball law. Yeah.
Oh well, we're about to get rid of registrations in Texas on cars.
Great, awesome idea. I mean, to kind of pull us back, I mean, like, I think that fear is something that we have to be careful, right? Because I don't want to sensationalize that you shouldn't be afraid in America today, because there's a lot of places that you could live that you wouldn't be afraid of a lot of these things. You wouldn't be afraid about retiring and having enough money. You wouldn't be afraid about medical debt or not being able to go to a doctor. You wouldn't have to worry and be afraid of getting randomly shot while you're at the mall or the movie theater or your synagogue or church or mosque. Like, you wouldn't have to worry about politicians passing horrible draconian anti-gay laws and like anti-trans laws. You wouldn't have to worry about your kids getting an education. Those are all real fears that we have in this country, in the richest country in human history, that we could easily fix tomorrow with a different budget, with a different government organization. But most of the things that we yell about at each other on mainstream media and back and forth in politics and at the bar, it's just bullshit. It's just made up bullshit to make you talk about that, and instead of talking about wages being stagnant from the 70s.
Yeah. I mean, and luckily, and I don't like giving credit to this concept, but social media has helped, I feel, a lot more with interconnecting people.
I agree.
And the vast sharing of ideas. And, you know, I mean, unions, case in point, are much more popular than they were years ago. Like right now, the Writers Guild is striking. The screen actors and the directors are probably going to do the same thing.
Hell yeah, do it.
And UPS as about to, and that's it. That's the one. Like that's like they're already a union. I think we've maybe discussed it on here that they don't have to deliver to people who are striking, or they won't deliver to a company if there's like two people on a picket line or something like that.
I don't know about
maybe
UPS.
That's the Teamsters.
That's the Teamsters.
That's the Teamsters. Yeah. No, UPS will still, they reserve the right not as a driver to, if it's a personal thing for them.
It's for them. Like, because Teamsters is just a union, the UPS union, which is a separate entity from UPS, has a lot better rules. I actually worked for UPS when I was in my teenage years on their box line at DFW Airport, and I had a great union. A box fell on me from about 40 foot up. Almost broke my ankle, and they wanted me to get back to work within 2 weeks, and my union was like, hell no. He's taking 12 weeks off.
They even tried when they know you have that union.
Like, oh yeah, they still try. That's why you have the union.
Sure, yeah. Like, fair enough. Yeah,
they're gonna try. Like they're gonna try to make.
They're gonna try everybody. They're gonna try every time.
That's why a union exists.
Yeah, dude. Oh wow, that's funny.
It's just like they're gonna try to always be like, no, we can't afford to do raises across the board this year.
Bullshit.
And you have to be like, bullshit. It's a record profit year and inflation is going up. Give us money.
Yeah.
Like unions are doing better. That is good news. That is a way to combat fear. I think definitely social media has helped in like radicalizing both for good and bad groups of people, and I think
making people feel more afraid
and lowered fear. I think
like
that having more information, having more information has made me both significantly less afraid of certain things and significantly more afraid of things.
Sure. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Like I am significantly more afraid of climate change and like the future of our species now than I am like some random redneck Muslim terrorist from random fucking nowhere coming to Arby's in Bedford, Texas and shooting me like I was when I was 14.
Yeah.
Right? But I grew up on a culture being told through movies, through my politicians, through my father especially, through all media that
his father is a
because
cop,
of 9/11. He's a lot of things.
Sure, but still,
cop is the easiest descriptor of it for sure.
Yeah, but still, someone who would instill fear, and they do that.
I mean, like I think that our fears change with information, right? Like there is things to be afraid of in life. Audience, I had to tell you this, but there's plenty of nights I lay awake staring at the ceiling, contemplating everything I've ever done wrong and lost love and all that kind of thing. But also, like, what happens after I die? That's terrifying, and no one's ever going to be able to give me an answer. No. And I'm sure a lot of you have the same thing, and, that's what your spiritual advisors, your family, your friends are for, yourself, and introspection. But the point is, fear in itself isn't a bad thing. Fear is a healthy response to living in a mortal world. Like I understand you being afraid, but we need to be afraid of the right things, and we need not to panic.
Yeah.
And Americans are panicking out of false fears more than ever these days. The fact is we had a insurrection on the Capitol based off a false fear.
I forgot about that.
Based off a false fear. Yeah, it tends
that little
to
thing.
slide away. Yeah, it was right. It was right after that whole pandemic thing. Really got kicked into
that's
gear.
over now.
Yeah,
totally over.
It's done. Nobody's dying from
nobody's
COVID
died
anymore.
From COVID anymore.
Yeah, we definitely don't need to like wear masks or anything still. Anyways, I think that fear isn't the issue. The fact that the ruling class uses fear on people who are marginalized and already having hard lives themselves in order to keep us from using that legitimate fear against the power of the ruling class and our waning power as a working class is the issue. You need to be afraid, audience. You do.
Yeah, is the unfortunate truth.
And then you need to not panic and not use that fear as a reason for violence or irrational decisions. And you need to analyze why you're afraid and the solutions to that. What you can do to prevent it or mitigate it. But what we don't need to do is say, well, they come from somewhere else, so I'm afraid of them. Well, they fall in love with people of the same sex, so I'm afraid of them. They do weird stuff in their bedroom that I don't personally like, so I'm afraid of them. Like, oh, well, they vote Democrat, so I'm afraid of them. And like,
vote Democrat.
By the way, a lot of fucking, and I'm doing the voice there, like little boy hog, like.
But that is
the voice that comes out when
case.
When I drink a little bit too much, and Andrew's having a drink at the bar, and there's how I talk. But
we both normally have these accents.
I mean, mine does show
mine
up.
Mine goes hard.
Yeah. Both of us
around
do
a
that,
Texan
actually.
for 2 seconds. And I'm like, all right, y'all, how are you doing?
You and I both at No Fest at like 3 a.m. are just like, hell yeah, Tim, hell yeah, Andrew.
Accent comes out real hard with a few beers.
But
there, didn't even mean it.
A few beers, get a few beers in you.
Yeah. George Bush up real quick.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
But yeah, no, I mean. In the South, it's rampant here. I mean, it's rampant everywhere, but it's obviously worse here. Like, I mean, it is. Like, it's worse in the Midwest. It's worse, and it's worse with. It's just worse. It's everywhere.
I Americans are afraid.
Yeah,
and Americans have plenty to be afraid about, but unfortunately, I think that the people in charge have directed us to be afraid of things, whether that's to make money off media, to keep us divided as a working class, or just because they're sadistic, evil bastards, some of them.
Yeah.
That
it's control. I mean, that's
most of
it's
it's greed. I think you're right at the beginning. Most of it is
I mean,
they want money and they want to keep control.
It's the like I mean, J-Dog Jesus Man said it the best, that money's the root of all evil. Like it really is. It like when you trace, anytime I think about a problem in America specifically or in the world, every time when I like deep dive in for an hour or so think about it, I land on money, religion, or both. Usually Christianity, but it's
you live in a Christian nation. It makes sense.
Yeah, especially America. Like in the confines of America, it's money or Christianity or both, and it's usually the money most of the time. I would say, like,
well, in America,
with
money
the Christian
is Christianity.
Yeah.
That's the difference.
Yeah,
and that was true in Europe when the Catholic Church had real power too. I will say, but like we worship money in this country as an evangelical belief. Like prosperity gospel is a thing.
The prosperity gospel. Oh my God. Yeah. Joel Osteen, Ed Young. I think Ed Young does that. Creflo Dollar. That's my favorite one because it's such a fun name to say.
Getting into your territory because I got out of that at 13.
Oh, I could talk
never
about
looking
it all
back.
day.
Yeah. But America, there are rational things to be afraid of, but we can face those things together. We can face those things with strength and competence and dignity and honor, and we can face them as a collective, as a group of human beings that are working to lift a rising tide for all boats. Because if we squabble amongst each other and we argue about our differences and we're afraid of different people because of different cultures and customs and what they eat and what they look like and who they love, if we squabble about that shit, we are on a one-way death march to the end of our species in the next few hundred years, either through nuclear war or climate change or biological weapons or space fucking lasers that Marjorie Taylor Greene is worried about with anti-Semitic theory. That one's not going to happen, audience, but I wish it would. We deserve a space laser
I mean, with as many
Michael
Marvel
Goldman pushing the button. Yeah.
There's always a sky beam. I think we're overdue for a sky beam.
We need a sky beam.
Not the racist Jewish one. That's just racist. No, but there is a sky beam somewhere that it's aliens or it's Russia or maybe it's us. It's probably us. It's us. It's for sure us.
Or it's a very poorly written script for a movie that is just another repeat and rehash of the same.
Robert Emmerich.
Marvel
movie. Get on it real fast.
Now I have a new idea. A beam shoots up in the sky and a bunch of clouds surround it.
You did that on Independence Day. Oh, what about Stargate? It was fine.
Well,
I love Stargate.
What if the hero's not all good and they're a little bit bad? Like
no.
Okay.
What if I use Mark Wahlberg? Maybe.
No, Marky Mark.
Oh wait, no, that's Michael Bay. Sorry,
Marky. Yeah, Michael Bay uses Marky Mark.
That's the Transformers. That's what it was.
We are anti Marky Mark on this podcast.
Anti Marky Mark and his third nipple. It's true.
And his racist beating a man to death almost.
Oh yeah, that I just found out about that. That was Jesus. Wow. Yeah, but I'm not afraid of Marky Mark.
So I guess that's kind of what we should end on is, audience, you should be afraid of Marky Mark.
Yeah, be afraid of Marky Mark. He might have some things we don't know that he hasn't resolved his anger and racism issues. It was 30 years ago, but we
don't know there's not going to be a TED 3.
Oh.
And that would be unacceptable. That would be equal to 9/11 or Pearl Harbor.
For that, please write Seth MacFarlane at Family Guy Way in Burbank, California.
That's right. And then at the bottom of that, put P.S. Give Andrew and Tim money.
Money, please. We will work for American Dad or Family Guy. You can pick, preferably American Dad.
Hey, I got some great edgy early 2000s humor cutaway gags stored up in this brain right here that will piss poorly look horrible in 20 years. So,
they, God, it's hard. It's all hard. It's hard.
The things from our child embarrass us now.
Some have adapted, some have not, but whatever.
Mr. Rogers holds up, I guess.
Mr. Rogers holds up. The Muppets are fine. That new Muppet show on...
The Simpsons still holds up.
The Simpsons holds up.
We're having this
fine.
Conversation.
Futurama just came back.
Futurama holds up. Yeah, you don't... I watch a Family Guy episode and I'm like, God, what was wrong with me? Youth in its arrogance. I watch a good Simpsons or Futurama episode and I'm like, thank you. Agreed.
None of them have... Yeah.
I agree with that. Like political analysis from The Simpsons in 1995 still matches today, which is amazing.
Not to mention they predicted everything. I got in trouble on Instagram for saying, "Oh, The Simpsons predicted this," and Instagram flagged it and said, "Hey, just FYI, The Simpsons did not predict Donald Trump." I'm like, "But I know they didn't. You fucks." Whatever.
They didn't actually have
not The Simpsons.
I'm afraid of whoever Matt Groening has as the Oracle of Delphi trapped in the bottom of his basement. So
I'm afraid of, and I'm going to end it here with a Bowie quote. I'm afraid of Americans. Pretty much, even myself, and maybe you a little bit. Sometimes you might be a wizard. I don't know, but Be afraid, America. Be very afraid. And use that fear. Use it, adapt it, and do better. I don't know.
Do better. As our usual.
That's all we can do. Do better. So that said, thanks for watching, listening, and good night. Bye.
Bye.
You've been listening to America the Conversation, a production of Shway Media and America the Podcast Presents. The show was created and is hosted by Tim Phillippe and Andrew Turner. The show's theme song is by Timmy Two Step, and all other music and sounds heard in this show were procured through the amazing companies listed in our show notes. America the Conversation is mixed and edited by Tim Phillippe at Shway Media Studios in Austin, Texas. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com. Copyright 2023, all rights reserved.
This has been a production of Shway Media, all rights reserved. For more information, please visit shwaymedia.com.